First Amendment protects sacred American freedoms, freedom of speech and freedom of the press. This week, the two clashed at the University of Missouri, raising questions about whether higher education is teaching students intolerance.
All right. Hey, who wants to help me get this reporter out of here? I need some muscle over here.
It was the rallying cry by University of Missouri communications professor Melissa Click that sparked one of the loudest First Amendment debates since the 60s.
No, you need to get out.
Click was stopping a student reporter from covering student activists. The same students who themselves had complained of an intolerant atmosphere joined in to bully the reporter.
The First Amendment protects your right to be here and mine.
The irony did not go unnoticed.
I think increasingly students have come to believe that they have a right not of freedom of speech, but freedom from speech they dislike.
Greg Lukianoff heads the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education, or FIRE. The group tracks one measure of intolerance on campus, the increasing number of speakers who face opposition or are disinvited from appearing on university campuses. The list includes people on both sides of the political spectrum. Like Barack Obama, there were efforts at Arizona State and Notre Dame to uninvite the president his first year in office. He spoke. Condoleezza Rice withdrew from a Rutgers speech in the face of protests. Chris Matthews faced opposition but did appear at Holy Cross. Ann Coulter was disinvited from Fordham and faced opposition from others. And even Nobel Peace Prize winner Desmond Tutu was dropped by the University of St. Thomas. We spoke to one notable member of the disinvited, Washington Post columnist, Fox News contributor, and fierce defender of the First Amendment, George Will. We asked him why he was disinvited from speaking at one college. What's your understanding of why you were disinvited from Scripps College?
Well, it's quite clear, although they didn't have the courage to say so. I wrote a column expressing doubts about the social science behind the claim that there's a rape epidemic on campuses.
It's my understanding the program was to bring differing views on campus, but you were, in essence, disinvited for your differing views.
Campuses are very big on diversity and everything but thought.
What's the harm that you see in this crackdown of freedom of expression on campuses at colleges? Does it matter?
It matters because we're teaching young people that they have a capacious new entitlement. It's the entitlement to go through life without ever being offended. Therefore, they produce not freedom of speech, but freedom from speech that might cause them distress, anxiety, disrupt their serenity. It's a universal entitlement now to serenity.
How do we get there? Because I think most people believe schools ought to be places where this sort of free thought is encouraged, even ideas that may be offensive to some. How has it been turned on its head?
Well, the First Amendment has been under assault for some time, even in Washington. 54 Democratic senators voted last year to amend the First Amendment to empower the political class in the name of campaign finance reform to regulate the content, quantity, and timing of political speech about the political class. So people are being taught that the First Amendment is negotiable. Never mind the pristine clarity of the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law abridging freedom of speech. Then there's something about modern parenting, I don't know what it is, but we have produced these delicate little snowflake children who will melt if they encounter the heat of real controversy. I don't know what it is that parents are doing, but I wish they'd cut it out.
Do you think this is an organized effort on campuses where somebody is going around and actually pulling these kids into this way of thinking?
No, it would be less alarming if it were, because then it would be an organized political opposition you could argue with. This is just in the social atmosphere. It's a kind of assumption, unquestioned. It doesn't need to be organized. It's spontaneous, and that, to my mind, makes it all the more ominous.
Whatever happened to the idea of, I don't like what you say, but I'll fight for the death for your right to say it?
It's been amended. It now is, I disagree with what you say, and if you continue to say it, I will call the thought police here on campus and have you at least relegated to a tiny little free speech zone on campus, irrespective of the fact that I think James Madison's First Amendment made the entire continental United States a free speech zone.
The disinvited have even formed their own club, and George Will was their first keynote speaker.